Shalom. Shalom. We in. We in. We on. 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 Shalom. Shalom to the people, children of the true and living, forever living, the eternal flame. Shalom. Beautiful people, beautiful beings. Everyone who desires righteousness and for the true power to reign. Peace, 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 peace. Barakathah to you and your household. Truth is stranger than fiction. You're going to see why I titled this lesson that today. We're going to get started with a little intro. All right. Shalom, man.
Vision be booming.
When people come to the live stream, come on in, man. Come on in. Lights is off. No more time, no more games to be played. It's time to display
Vision be
true power of the Almighty. It's time to display that power. All glorification, all of it belongs to Him. We're going to give reverence to our mother and our father, to knowledge
vision be
and wisdom. Knowledge being the father, wisdom being the mother. Knowledge and wisdom, you can't do without them. Either one of them, you can't do without them. We're going to get to it.
vision be
And the copyright disclaimer that I might run across, I'm already saying fair use. YouTube is for teaching and learning purposes, for edifying the body of the Almighty. So if you do anything fugazi, know that the Almighty will be on your head.
vision
If
be
you do anything fugazi that go against my rights to edify the children, people, the Most High will have you targeted. You're a red dot. Alright? Do not stand in the way. Do not stand in the way of this teaching. Do not stand in the way. Do not stand in the way of this edification.
vision be
Alright? Okay, bro. So, gonna get to it, man.
vision be Vision beat. Cool.
You on Facebook? Facebook giving you a little problems? Come jump over to the YouTube. I'm on my YouTube live stream right now too. It's on the Lighthouse. That's LYTE House. Lighthouse.
Vision beat.
For the ones on YouTube, if YouTube start doing funny activity, hop over to the Facebook. Hop over to the book. I'm on the book. Find me under my name, Nehemiah Williams. All right. We're going to get this thing started at the 8-minute mark.
Vision beat.
Try to break this thing all the way down to a science. My peeps.
Vision beat.
All right. Let's get started. Now, first, I'm going to be coming out of the sealed portion, chapter 25, and I believe chapter 26. And then I'm going to get to this article, if that's fair to say. It's a website, YouTube. It's a website called the Torah, and it's like an under dash com, not .com, but it's the under dash line com. The Torah dash, not the upper but the lower com. It's where you can go to and read these articles that these writers publish. And it's funny how they put it out there, and why you ask yourself, like, why is it not .com? Or why is this information not put out there like that and displayed with such a heavy title? Anytime you talk about Torah, that's innumerous, imaginable weight that name carries because of what it means. All right. So we're gonna get to the bottom of things, and there's a lot of things I put on the book leading up to this lesson today that I wish to elaborate on, and touch on. So most high willing, I will be able to do so. All right, most high willing, I'll be able to do so. So let's get into the thick of things. Man. And what I really want to point out, like the main thing that I'm trying to paint a picture of for the people to see, for those who have eyes to see, is you see a certain pattern repeating itself. You see the cycle repeating itself. The artist B.O.B. says something in his rhyme, He says something like in one of his mixtapes that really didn't get published because he was saying too much truth. Babylon brainwaves, and he was saying he used that line right there or that phrase because he was talking about the same shit repeating, happening over and over. It's where you get the concept where the dragon is eating his own tail. So the beast system basically annihilates itself. It's self-destructive because there's no positive that come from it. It's just the way it was structured, how power did it. You know, we know over here not to question power ways. Uh, you ask for understanding of his ways. You don't question his ways. You ask for understanding of his ways, right? Because you always got to be in the know that all his ways are righteous, justice, and truth. All his ways are righteous, justice, and truth. All his ways. So, chapter 25, I wanted to start on in the sealed portion. And I'm going to dabble a little here and there. I'm going to dabble. Getting a little bit from chapter 25 and getting a little bit from chapter 26. Let's start with the header, chapter 25. Hold on. I'll make it cool. All right. All right. All right. All right. I know something up with YouTube because usually there's at least one looking. And I know that be there. Ain't nothing on there. All right, chapter 25, the sealed portion. Chapter 25 and the sealed portion. Slocky, slocky, slocky. Moroni continues his abridgment of the vision of the brother of Jared concerning the early kingdoms of the world. The Egyptian nation is introduced. The city of Enoch is described, and the great flood is discussed. The purpose for the written history of the nations of the earth is expounded on. And now I will return once again to the words of the brother Jared concerning those of the children of Adam who began to establish kingdoms and nations among them. And it came to pass that those of the children of Adam who stayed behind the land that bordered on the great river, even that great river that Adam and those that that followed him encountered in this new world, and these began to divide themselves up into areas according to their individual families. And these families sought out the most fertile parts of the land where they could plant their seeds and raise their food. And they began to cultivate the land that was fertile in such a way that they began to raise much more food than was necessary for their daily sustenance. And they began to take the water from this great river and dig canals and ditches wherein it would flow into places that there had not been water before. And in this way, they did increase the harvest of their crops. And this work was done by many families in cooperation with each other, having elected one to oversee the construction of their canals, in their waterways, and their dams. For the people felt that it was better that one man should have the authority over many in order to eliminate contention and disputations among them. Now, if you study reality, yes, I said study reality, because most of us don't do that, meaning be vigilant. That's what meaning being vigilant is. Be vigilant is meaning study reality. Know what take place amongst you, around you. Study it. And then pick up on what is happening so you can see and recognize the issue, recognize the problem. Okay? That's how you identify the source. of the problem. So I'm going live. So what we got here, right, is nothing new under the sun. If you see what just transpired, see, first thing, what we know we got to do is come up out of these so-called black communities. As you can see, what the Most High is exposing, that is no good. It's no good. Come up out of those. They are just like the damn churches. Come up out of those. If you understand and understand what was just read, you wouldn't have an argument. And you will see what I'm saying. You will see it. Definitely in a spiritual sense, because that's where I'm aiming at. I don't talk anything. I try my best not to talk anything physical. I try my best. So coming out of these black communities, why I say this? What's buzzing around? What's viral right now? What leader of the culture of the black community just got locked up? Now I go in a deeper sense of it. People don't want to believe in the power of the Hebrews. That's a problem. Continue to mock and scoff. And you're going to continue to see power showcasing his hand. Showcasing who's the real boss. He's going to keep showcasing it. As long as you be dumb enough to mock and scoff, he's going to continue to display his hand. And his hand is usually the whipping stick. So now you see, just after a couple of weeks, what transpired with this black community leader. And nobody spotted and nobody seen what he was really representing, even though he was putting it out there. He wasn't even hiding it. Then the so-called black people have thousands upon thousands of questions as to why things happen to us without looking at themselves. Come up out of the black community. First of all, get rid of the black title. Black means non-existent. You don't exist. Why do you think they push that on you so damn bad? It means non-existent. And in this way, these people began to form their governments and elect their leaders from among their own families. And it came to pass that these leaders became wealthy, and they did not work by the sweat of their brow, but required a payment for their services. And because of their positions, which had been given unto them by the people, Brother Polite, He was what? Given that position by the black community. All you Pan-Africans, which had been given unto them by the people, these leaders began to develop schemes and plans whereby they could control more of the daily activities of the people than the activities that they had been elected to perform. And it was a benefit to the families that they had established among them to choose these men to whom they gave this power and authority from within their own families. And in this way, the children of man began again to allow Satan to exercise power over them. For according to the word of the Maker, a leader of the people should be the servant of all. A king is a servant. The leader of the people shall be a servant of all. If he's a leader, he's making sure he's putting his house first. That's step number one into being a king, a righteous king. He don't put himself first. He put his people first. That's his house. That's his representation. This is why we get the ass whooping that we get. Because if you are the house of the Most High, you're representing him in the wrong way if you're going off. So it's his duty as a king, as a servant of you. You're representing his house. It's his duty to make sure you stay in line. All right. And in this way, the children of man began to allow Satan to exercise power over them. For according to the word of the Maker, a leader of the people should be the servant of all. And because they did not have the Holy Spirit, mama, to guide them, these peoples did not understand the principles and laws of heaven for the establishment of a righteous government. We're going to get on this, all right, in this article by this website called The Torah. And the only concern of the people was that they could feed their families and have shelter from the elements and have clothes to wear. And the majority of them spent their days providing for their own needs and also for the needs of those whom they had elected to have power over them. Is this shit sounding familiar? Is this sounding familiar? Now, this was a thing that Satan desired, for he knew that if he could assure that the people and that the power and control over the people fell into the hands of a few men, then he could control the rest of the people by the power and authority that these leaders had been given by the people. For this was an eternal law by which even Satan had to abide. You see, nothing, even with this structure, right? Just told you. Nothing is his. He's just defiling it. Doesn't mean the structure isn't correct. He got the blueprint from who? On how to run things. The problem is, it wasn't meant for him to run it. So because by nature, he's a violator. He violates the righteous ways of things. So the blueprint is right that he got down, because he didn't create this of his own. No, he didn't create this structure. What he did with it, though, was manipulate it. He used his tools that was given up to him, which is to be deceptive in the power of manipulation. And that's what he used. So it said, even which Satan had to abide, even the law that giveth all the children of power the right to choose the leaders whom they would follow, and also the laws by which they would live. Now, I don't know if it's before this chapter or after this chapter. Either way, there's a chapter in here in the sealed portion that talks about the election that we had of the power that runs this world. Or I shouldn't say who before the wicked, who allowed the wicked to run this world, I should say. We elected the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. We elected him in the spiritual realm to rule. So you see the blueprint. But everything down here, which belongs to the adversary, right, is the physical sense. So it's not done in the way. The structure is the same, but it's not done in the way of the Holy One, of the Almighty. It's not done in the same, that you get it, you get it. So it says this. And if Satan could convince the people to accept their leaders as chosen men of God, hold on to that, then he would have an even greater control of their hearts and their minds. That's the end game. And this was the desire of Satan from the beginning, even that he should maintain control over their hearts and minds of all the children of power, so that he could force them to obey the laws of heaven without giving them the choice to do so by their own choosing. Now, remember who controls the light and the dark. Remember that. So, precept, what I just read to you, this verse 12, chapter 25, verse 12, with chapter 81 in the sealed portion. You see, he had to have a conversation with the Almighty in order to get in the position that he's in now. This is his way of saying, Power, I can show you my rights and get the people back to you. But Power knew what he was about. He knew what he was about. So this is what you got. And on a deeper matter, we all know the story. What happened? So-called Christopher Columbus coming over here, right? So-called Christopher Columbus coming over here, him and his crew. And what were they preaching? The different Jesus Christ, right? They came over here preaching another Jesus Christ. But this was by structure. For this isn't the way power wanted it to be done. This is why you see him pleading with us all throughout the Bible. This is not the way he wanted things to be done. But when you precept Daniel chapter 7, verse 21 on down, and he said, and I seen, this is Daniel speaking about the vision that power gave, showed and exposed unto him. I seen the same horn that fought with the saints, that same exact horn made war with the saints. You see? So it was the power of the Almighty. Just told you right here. I just read it. There's also precepts in the legend of the Jews and the story of Esther. When Satan indicts the Jews, that's what it's called. That's what the chapter is called in the book of the legend of the Jews. When Satan indicts the Jews, when he indicts the Hebrews, the Israelites, Yasharallah, Yarushalayim, when he indicts them, right? He was able to perform his idea, his ideology, and what he perceives as righteousness. But who did he go to steal to even have this act performed? See? And it came to pass that these leaders of the people, who were those who did not work with their own hands for their own support, began to introduce ideas to the rest of the people about the world and its creation, in its times and its seasons. For behold, time is also something that Satan desired to give unto the children of men. For if they had a sense of time, then they would believe that there was a beginning of their lives. And if there was a beginning of their lives, then they would realize that there was also an end. And thus making the conception of eating, drinking, and making merry in all the days of your life, consistent with the conjugations, conjugations. Not condign. Cognition, a mental action or process of acquiring knowledge and understanding through thought, experience, and the sense. Perception or intuition, right? That Satan intended for them. And these lazy men began to look to the stars and to the moon and to the other planets in the heavens for the signs and symbols that they thought were necessary to keep the people under the submission. And this great river, of which I have written, became known as the Nile River. Now, y'all been following me. I spoke and expounded upon the Nile River, right? I expounded upon the Nile River and what it the story with the Nile River, the tomb. Where did Moshe find the tomb of Joseph in the story of Joseph in the Nile River? See how it's coming together, connecting the dots. He carved the faces of the from Joseph's cup. He carved the cherub out of the sides of the cups and threw it into the Nile River, which made the tomb of Joseph rise. Nile River. And it came to pass that the people near the mouth of this great river, even that part that emptied into the great sea, became known as the people of the lower Egypt, and those in the southern part of the great river were known as the people of the upper Egypt. And there arose a mighty man among the people of upper Egypt, who became a king and a ruler among the people. And this man was not elected by the voice of all the people, but was given his power by the voice of the other leaders, who had for many years lived upon the spoils of those who tilled and watered the ground and brought forth the fruit thereof. Now, stop right here and let me reiterate the story of Joseph. So this is after his reign. You see? They did away with his work, but they copied it. Huh? And they used it to their righteousness. You see? What does that sound like? Who did this in the spiritual? You see what we got going on? I said, what? Follow the patterns. Follow the patterns. This was for their gain, their glory, their riches. They didn't care about the workers. The one that was doing all the farm work, doing all the structure, the construction, the building. They didn't care about that. No. They seemed it fit Satan, the adversary. Satan is just the adversary of the Almighty. What he convinced them of was, you are a chosen man of God. Matter of fact, you are God's. You are God's. So, why should you care about the servants? Why should you care about your servants? To where you're thinking about, you're taking time out of your day on how you can pay them fairly. Making sure that they are living in a safe environment. Taking care of your people. You shouldn't have to worry about that. You're a God. So he got them thinking backwards. You see? Because Joseph didn't reign like this. He fed everybody. It's recorded in the Bible. All the nations fled unto him, and he fed them. The righteous king of old. You see? And he didn't feed them. We're not talking just about food here. We're talking Torah, and I'm going to prove that. He fed them knowledge. He fed them truth. He fed them wisdom. All right? And they knew this. And it came to pass that this great king united the peoples of the upper and lower Nile and brought them under his rule. And he introduced unto them the idea that his family, see, he had to switch it around now, that the idea of his family, right, was a royal blood, and that only through the blood of his family could the ruling class be brought forth. You see? He's using the same tactics of the righteous, but he's defiling it. Because our jobs as his children is to bring all nations unto him. Not to ourselves, but unto him. Hebrews, Israelites, and Gentiles. We must bring them unto him. That's our job. That's your reason for existence. So, he mocks. People really don't get the concept of when he say, or Satan mock. He mock everything power do. Exactly. This is the definition of it. This is the definition of it. This is how he mocks. So you can curse the ways of the Almighty or you question it. He's meant to profane. You see? And this he had taken from the corrupt teachings that had been passed down among them regarding Adam. See? And this he had taken from the corrupt teachings that had been passed down among them regarding Adam in the pure blood of the bodies that the Father had given to Adam and Eve. And now we can see how easy it is for a man to take a principle of righteousness and make it a principle that satisfies his own selfish demands. And because the people did not have the written word that Adam had caused to be written and carried forth among them, they did not have a correct interpretation of the truth. Because, like I said, this is after the reign of Joseph, Yehoshaphat. All right? This is after the reign of him. And what they did, what the adversary of him had them do, is ambush all his work that he had established and brought unto the house of the dead. He brought life unto the house of the dead. You see? And they did away with it. Bringing life is bringing Torah. Get it? Mama. Mama is life. So when you bring the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, you're bringing life. He brought life into the house of the dead, into the house of bondage. And it came to pass that the numbers of these people grew exceedingly, and they were to delightsome and a fine looking people. They having the remnants or remnants of the dark skin that had been passed down from those who had defiled themselves with the beings of a lower order that had crossed over into the land of Eden. We guys, you know, they gotta throw out the bone. But as their generations passed, and as these people mixed with the pure blood of Adam and Eve, they became an exceedingly beautiful people. The pure blood of Adam and Eve. And it came to pass, the people were convinced that the doctrine of their king was correct, and that the ruling class consisted of special men and women who had been chosen by the gods to rule over them. And among the people of Egypt, many forms of gods were created and taught unto them, and they worshiped these gods according to the abilities of each. In other words, according to what each of these gods contributed to their daily lives. You see? This is what we have to battle. As these other gods. Because these other gods impose their will. They don't impose the Most High's will. They impose their will amongst the people. And that can't be so. That can't be allowed. We are here to stop that nonsense, because it can only be one will. It can only be one will. And that's the will of the Most High. That's it. No other will is allowed. Because the will of the Most High consists of all, meaning freedom, righteousness, justice, truth, grace, peace, abundance of joy. That's the Most High's will for eternity. Any other will is going to have a conflict with that. Yeah. And the majority, continuing, and the majority of the people were taught that these rulers were partly gods themselves, and that the gods had come down among them and established these few for the sake of the majority. You see where he's mocking? You see? And this is where he's mocking. And because of their deception and manipulation, because of their deception and manipulation of the people, these rulers became very rich and feared and fared sumptuously off of the labors of the people who followed them and bowed down before them. And they caused that the great houses be built in their names. Bam, right there. Just told you, you're going to find out great houses just mean pharaohs. That's what pharaoh means. It just means great house. That the great houses be built in their names. Right? And they became great pharaohs of the Egyptian nation. And these pharaohs established a priesthood among them. And they called priests to administer in the priest in this priesthood, which priesthood served the ruling class in its needs and desires. And the people were taught that the success of this life was based upon the material things of the world. Esau, Edom. Or you the seed of Jacob. Seed of Jacob know that this world is not their rest. We don't look or desire the material things of this world. We store all our riches for the world to come, for eternity, for the kingdom of the Most High. Right? So it says, and the people were taught that the success of this life was based upon the material things of this world, and they would divide into classes of three. The first being the ruling class, which consisted of the pharaohs, who were the few, and the next class among them consisted of the priests and those who administered the laws to the majority. What is it following after? Same concept, isn't it? This is the same concept from the Hebrews. So who set this up? It's telling you that the Egyptians doing it the same way. Where did they get it from? So we're going to stop right there. And now I think I'm going to go to this article, and then I'm going to jump back into this book in chapter 26. But now I'm going to go into this article. I'm going to go into this article and let y'all see it. Sorry for the cracked phone. See that? It's the Torah. And you see the dash like that? You see that? That's the website. Let me see something. Put down the light a little bit. That's the website. You see? Fair use. Educational purposes, YouTube, fair use. The title Pharaoh. The title Pharaoh. The change in usage over time and what this tells us about the biblical text. The unnamed Pharaoh, huh? That's the title. The unnamed Pharaoh. One of the challenges of studying the Exodus story is identifying which Egyptian Pharaoh the text is speaking of. The biblical text does not provide the name of the stubborn king of Egypt who defies the power of Israel, but only refers to him as Pharaoh. Pharaoh is the Egyptian loan word that means the great house. See? Is the Egyptian loan, Loan word that means the great house. And is the most frequently used Egyptian loan word in the biblical text. Appearing 274 times, about half of these are in the Exodus narrative, and another third in the Joseph story. And another third in the Joseph story. Best to believe they know all about Joseph here, all right, in this Egyptian world we live in. But to what extent does the biblical Pharaoh describe the Egyptian king? And can it be taken in Exodus to refer to a specific Egyptian king? Ancient Egyptian kingship. Ancient Egyptian kingship is all about legitimacy. The king rules because he is the legitimate king. His legitimacy is manifest by his effective actions, his rights of inheritance and successions, and finally by his special relation to the gods of Egypt. Many of these royal functions resonate in the Bible. Action and efficiency are best manifest by monumental building activities. Nothing says action more than that. The huge temples and monuments of the pharaohs. By carving elaborate reliefs depicting the subjugated enemies of Egypt in front of the ruling king of these buildings. The Egyptian king demonstrates his efficient domination of the earthly world of enemies. The importance of buildings and the Egyptian royal ideology, yeah, is likely reflected in Exodus chapter 1 and 11. Well, they precepting, we got to get down. If they gon' if they gon' precept, right? That's what we get those. We get those. 1 and 11, huh? Therefore did they set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, uh, Pythium and Ramesses. Hmm? Now I'm gonna go. Let's go above that, right? And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already. And Joseph died, and all his brethren in all that generation. And the children of Yasharallah were fruitful and increased abundantly, and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt. You see, that's just precept what I just read in the sealed portion. So who laid out the blueprint? Who laid out the structure? Y'all didn't see that. Didn't see that precept coming into the wow. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Yasharallah are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set up over them taskmasters of afflict them with their. So this is out of fear. You see? It's that one scene on it's a Bug's Life when the leader of the Grasshoppers have that motivational speech about why they can't afford to slack on being on the heads of the ants, because he said once they wake up, they will know that they outnumber us. You see? And they will easily take over us if they figure that out. Same shit. Same thing. They put it right in your movies, man. And they built for the Pharaoh storage cities, Pythium and Ramesses. The inheritance and successions are tightly linked to the divine rights of the king, but also to the family line of the ruling king, addressing their continuity in their royal family line and referring to their royal forefathers was part of Egyptian rhetoric. Most notably manifest in the long king list that provide the ruling king's inheritance line. Different dynasties, as termed by modern research and following the Maintenonian historiography, were sometimes inserted within one's family line as one continuous line. The Bible may refer to this issue in Exodus chapter 1, verse 8. Just read it. where the anatomy of Joseph is best understood as a change of dynasty. Hence the title of the article of the website. You see, they've been knowing this whole time, y'all. That's why they know where the true old Egypt is, ancient Egypt is. I'm in it right now. They know where it's at. You see? And they got now a new king arose over Egypt who did not know Joseph. So they took away. So he was, that's why in the legend of the Jews, in the story of Moshe in the wilderness, whose power? That Pharaoh didn't know about him. Pharaoh didn't know of him. This Pharaoh did not know him. And neither did the people. But guess who knew? Moshe. He went searching for him. Moshe. He went searching for him. The king carries a special role. Oh, wait a minute. Did I skip a part? Yeah, I did. The king's relationship with the gods is the most important aspect of his kingship. Although not a god himself, the king was depicted with the same proportions and special attributes, particularly on his head, as the gods of Egypt. The king carries a special role as the sole mediator between the Egyptians and their gods. He is entrusted with the sacred balance known as the Ma'at, the Egyptian word for truth. You see? So where did they get this stuff from, man? You see the similitude? They are reading the spiritual eyes, man. You see, it's just clear as day. The truth is right there in your face for you to see. Don't use these eyes. Use the eyes power gave you. That power gave you. Use those eyes. Okay? Continue on to say, but also use to describe the cosmic balance that rules the ancient Egypt world. The cosmic balance that rules. So who rules, man? Satan don't rule the cosmos. Why you think Egypt got judged? Power don't judge unrighteously. He don't deal unrighteously. They had the teachings in their possessions. And what did they do with it? They dismantled it. They turned around against it. They blasphemed it. Have we not committed the same acts? So what makes you think that Egypt what do you think Joseph was doing in the house of bondage, in the house of Egypt? What knowledge and wisdom did he display that had Pharaoh flabbergasted? His mind was blown of the stuff that Joseph was saying and performing. What was he teaching the house of Egypt? How would you change a dynasty? Gloves off, man. The Most High knowledge is truth. The true and living power, knowledge in the Torah, wisdom is truth. It says, but also used to describe the cosmic balance that rules the ancient Egyptian world. When the king does not uphold this balance, listen, pay attention. When the king does not uphold this balance, uphold righteousness unto the people, when he does not serve them, what's happening in real time right now, y'all? You don't think this place about to have judgment upon on their head? Have they been dealing with the people righteously? Look at the mess they trying to pull now. Look at the mockery. The disrespect is real. We gonna play with y'all with these piddly ass stimulus checks while trying to give y'all the you know what. That's going to discombobulate your ass. You see the buffoonery? So they know what time it is. They know that whooping stick must begin. All right? Terrible things might happen to Egypt. Terrible things might happen to Egypt. The king knows if he does not uphold this balance of the cosmic laws, the heavenly order, if he does not uphold these laws, which are true and just, terrible things will happen to him in his household. We're dealing with reality here. Okay? It's even in your Bible. What happened to Egypt? It wasn't just based and founded on, or because they had the Most High's people under subjection. It was deeper than that. They knew the Torah. They knew the Torah and did not follow. Same shit happened with the people. Same shit happened with us. We had the Torah, did we not? What happened? Perhaps the reaction of the Pharaoh, the great house, to the plagues in Genesis 12, verse 17 through 19 is a reflection of this concept when finding out that he accidentally slept, right? Then it brings you to Abraham. Funny, huh? Accidentally slept with Abraham's wife. He reacts by balancing the scale, returning Abraham's wife to him and sending him off with all his estate. But Yahweh struck Pharaoh in his house with great plagues because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. Then Pharaoh called Abraham and said, "What is this you have done to me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say she is my sister, so that I took her for my wife? Now then, here is your wife. Take her and go." Now, let's hit deep. This is going to go into a different aspect real quick, and then we're going to get back right to the point, to the story of this lesson. But this is going back to the previous lessons that I did before. We're going to wait for a little while. A quick little break. So Abraham told Pharaoh, "That's my sister." He wasn't lying. The understanding that you get on the Legend of the Jews is something else. It's something else. My beloved brother came to me out of the Legend of the Jews telling me about Cain and Abel. Cain and Abel was born with sisters, twins. That means your soul. You were born with a soul, your soulmates. Okay? They got a movie out right now. You think I'm playing? It's called Reminiscing. Man, let me go to it, man.
Reminiscence.
Y'all hear that?
Reminiscence. Reminiscence. Reminiscence.
A story told about a past event remembered by the narrator. Remember by the narrator. Who's the narrator of this story? Who's the narrator? The Almighty, right? And Mama. right? The enjoyable recollection of past events. His story made me smile, and then it give you a little a collection and literally form of incidents and experiences that someone remembers. Okay, let's go. To let's see. What is reminiscence? A apprehension of a Platonic idea as if it had been known in a previous existence. Highlight, keep in mind, I'm going to go on to the word of Platonic. 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 We're going to go in, we're going to tap into that word, Platonic. As if it had been known in a previous existence. Recall to mind of a long forgotten experience or fact. Or fact. A long and forgotten experience or fact. The former and the latter. They know, man. They've been playing with the Almighty this whole time, and now judgment is due. They've been knowing this whole time the truth. The process or practice of thinking or telling about past experiences. That's why you never put down the word, man. This is your experience from the former. You are in here somewhere. Camaro, Brother Camaro always say, you are the books. Right. You are the books. The former and the latter. Right? They got a movie called this, right? Look up this movie. Look at the trailer. It's a man and the woman. The woman is his reminiscence. Is who he reminiscing about his past experiences. Representing his soul. Get it? So when Abraham told Pharaoh that's his sister, he wasn't lying. He was born with a soul. As it be considered his sister because they was born at the same time. Let's go on this word. This is why you can't emerge the knowledge of this world, of this physical sense, with anything spiritual, because it'll profane it. All right, let's go. Platonic. Platonic.
Platonic.
Platonic. Of love or friendship, intimate and affectionate, but not sexual. But not sexual. What does it mean to be in a platonic relationship? A platonic relationship is one in which people share a close bond, but do not have sexual relationship. The opposite of a platonic relationship is a sexual or romantic relationship. While the term is sometimes thought to apply only to opposite sex friends, it can also apply to the same sex friendship as well. Okay. A platonic friendship is a close friendship between two people who are not dating or having sex. If the friendship moves beyond just friends, then it is no longer platonic. Sometimes platonic friendship evolve into friendship, but sometimes you only remain strictly friends. Okay. Mind you, this is only to their knowledge though. Okay? This is only to what power gave them. You see, he gave his children the oral knowledge and understanding of him. So we're here to bring the knowledge and understanding of the Most High, of the Father. Okay, what I want to go to. What is a platonic soulmate? A platonic soulmate is someone you can be your true self with. Finding someone you can show your naked, honest, true self to is an extremely rare connection. Extremely rare connection. It said extremely. To share with another person. In this case, that would be your soul. You can't hide nothing from your soul. This is why you can't hide nothing from the Most High. Because that's what he has in his possession. Is your soul. Let's go. Let's go. We're gonna keep running. Can soulmates be platonic? Companion soulmate, this relationship can be romantic in nature, but it can also be platonic. For an example, with a family member or a friend. Companion souls are in harmony and on the same wavelength. And they are what most people would understand when they think of the word soulmate. This is why what we have here in today's physical sense, in this rulership of the wicked, you have marriages that fail at an alarming high rate. Because we're talking about two different worlds here. So two completely different meanings. This is why you continue to increase your understanding. It's endless. And you can't increase your understanding if you just put down the books. You must continue your studies. Why is that so important? Because you're getting to know the ways of the Eternal One and how he structured things to be. Period. There's nothing more important than that. Everything else in life is vain, vanity, pointless. It has an end date. It has an expiration. It's not going to last. It's not going to suffice you. They got a movie out called Reminiscence. They know, man. It was this man's soul. I don't even have to see this movie. I haven't even seen this movie. I just seen the trailer. This is the works of the Almighty. I haven't even seen this. I don't even know if this movie's out yet. I just seen the trailer. And me reading what Power got reading, bam, Precept everything. You see in the same cycle. It's telling you something. The ten brethren, the forefathers of the tribes. Reuben, Gad, Asher, Zebulun, Issachar, Simeon, Judah, all of them were born with a twin sister, like Abraham, and like Cain, and like Abel. That was their soul mates. They were born with a soul mate, just like Adam and Eve. Get it? That was his soul. Eve was Adam's soul. Power kept that. This is how powerful power has made women. We have no idea. Why you think the enemy perverted it in such a way? What is the power of women in this world? To say that they have none or to ignore that, you got to be a plumb dumb idiot. You're not dealing with reality. What is the power of women in this world? You simply can't live without them. Simple. Who made it that way? So you'll be a buffoon to believe that is not the same way in heaven, in power's kingdom. So he wasn't lying when he told Pharaoh that was his sister. This is that Abraham's him was a reflection of how beautiful Abraham was his wife that he was born with, his soul. His soul is beautiful. That's why Sarah was drop dead gorgeous. To where Pharaoh committed that accident that he had to pay for. When you're righteous, power will make you beautiful, like unto him. He's just simply amazing, man. All his works, simply amazing. We can't fathom it. Now, wait a minute. Let me see if I need to carry you on with this article. Y'all look up those words, Platonic and reminiscence. Look up those words, man. You'll be astounded. The titles of the Egyptian king, the most common expression of the king's driven rights and legitimacy to the throne is provided in his titles. The Egyptian king was known by 5 different names. These include the Horus name and the golden Horus name, after the falcon god, who is the divine manifestation of Egyptian kingship. The Horus name is frequently written within a rectangular frame designed as an architectural feature. Perhaps of the palace, the horse falcon is found perched on top of the feature and above the king's name. The Nebti, Nibidi name, meaning literally the two ladies, referring to the pardon goddesses of upper southern and lower northern Egypt. What did I just read? Yeah, I knew I needed to continue on and on with this, because what did I just read about that in chapter 25 in the sealed portion? You see, they know, man. Upper southern and lower northern Egypt being vulture and the cobra deities, respectfully, respectively. Uh, this title refers to the king's role in the unification of the two regions. You see, just read this, that were previously separate in both geography and culture. The king's uh, prenomen follows the symbol of the sage plant and the bee embalms of Upper and Lower Egypt, respectively. And the prenomen itself is written inside an oval frame known as the, we're going to look this word up. Yeah, look this word up. I wanted to know what this meant when I ran past it earlier. Cartouche. That's what I believe it says. That's what I believe it reads. Could be wrong.
Cartouche.
Cartouche. Cartouche.
Cartouche.
Cartouche. A craved table or drawing represented a scroll with rolled up ends used or namedly or name mentally ornamentally or bearing an inscription. This sounds like the ark. This sounds like the ark that the cherubims are on. A craved table or drawing representing a scroll with rolled up ends. A scroll with rolled up ends, huh? Used or mentally or bearing an inscription. An oval or oblong enclosing a group of Egyptian hieroglyphs, typically representing the name and title of the monarch. Ark. They had this, man, in their possession. That's what they saying. I don't know if you can see it. Turn the light back down. Let's share this with y'all. You see this? You get these things from, man. You see this? So they got this knowledge from the Almighty, from the power, from the Holy One of the Israelites. This is where they got this knowledge from. And then they flipped it because who was their influencer to go against the ways of the Almighty? Come on, man. Cartouche is a symbolic representation of all things encircled by the sun, referring to the king's rule of everything under the sun. Who is that? They're just pretending to be him, to be that righteous king. After Joseph, there was never another king in Egypt like unto him. There never was. This is what our people, the Hebrews, don't even talk about. But that's going to end today because I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about that king of old, and I'm going to get it nailed into y'all membrane. Who the righteous and holy one is of Yasharallah, of Yasharalim, Yarushalayim. And some more pictures. The king's nomen follows the title son of Re, the all-powerful son God. The nomen is also written in the cartouche. A cartouche. So, y'all see this? Once again, I apologize for the cracked screen, but I had to use what I got. You see those? Hieroglyphics, meaning the writing is on the wall. Oh, we gonna get there. We gonna get there. Y'all get ready for what's coming. Y'all get ready for what's coming. Like I said, it was things that I was posting. It was things that I was posting on the book. I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna get to it. Figure 1, it says prenomen and nomen of Ramesses II, king of Upper and Lower Egypt, the strong one belonging to the Ma'at of Re, chosen by Re, son of Re, bore him, beloved of Ammon. All these titles are a manifestation of the king's divine legitimacy. However, none of these titles resonate in the biblical text. Instead, we find that the king is called by his most mundane title, Pharaoh, or simply king of Egypt. Yeah, man, yeah. Y'all get into this article because it precepts too. It precepts too. It precepts too. But now I'm gonna touch on. Let's see. We're gonna look up Osiris. The writing is on the wall, y'all. And I want y'all to check out his credentials. Who they gave us or what they said Pharaoh changed Joseph's name into got changed time and time and time and time and time and time again. This is how you cover the truth in plain sight. All right? This is how you cover the truth in plain sight. So we gonna get it. Maybe I gotta go to what I went to last time to get this. Okay, under just Osiris. Under just Osiris, this is what it reads. Osiris, god of the deceased, was a son and oldest child of Geb, Geb, the earth deity, and Nut, the sky goddess. His wife and his sister was Isis, goddess of motherhood, magic, fertility, death, healing, and rebirth. Osiris, the descendant, and Osiris then descended into the underworld where he became the lord of that domain. So let me put in it's Osiris Joseph. Yeah, come on. Don't try to hide it now. Now. Don't you try to hide it now. Matter of fact, let me see if I can get it right here. Why you sitting up here trying to play games with me? Hold on, y'all. Bear with me. They always got to make things difficult. What other way, though, huh? What other way? I tried to say Nimrod was. Yeah. All right. Look at his credentials. Let's see. Let's see. Can't find it right now. I have to get out the book to find mine. I'm gonna have to put it on the thing, man, because they playing games with me right now like it wasn't there. See? So I'm telling right here, Jesus versus Osiris. Jesus versus Osiris. Jesus versus Osiris. Let me get that light down so y'all can see that. We're going to see through this with the spiritual lenses on. Jesus versus Osiris. This is where you get, this is why you get so many Egyptians and be like, man, Jesus didn't balk. Jesus bit off the story of the Egyptian gods. And they'll probably bring up Osiris or Horus, or this is how you come into that confusion. Because everybody forgot who the king of old is and was. They forgot. We forgot. As his people and his children, we forgot. Joseph reigned. Yahoseph reigned. Okay? In Egypt, in the land of bondage, in the land of the dead, because the idolatry and the worship of these other deities, unrighteous gods, because of that, it was proclaimed the underworld. This is the underworld. He was the god of the underworld. I don't know why they won't let me find it, y'all. They must know. They must know I was on their neck. You got a book, Christ in Egypt. That's why they gave you the New Testament. To give you that story about Jesus and how you got to know the work of the enemy. And how he mocks and how he moves. Yes, my boy.
Does it die for Daddy?
I don't know, boy. It's mine. Okay, Osiris, look in Wikipedia. From Egyptian, Coptic, is the god of fertility, agriculture, and the afterlife, the dead resurrection, life and vegetation in ancient Egyptian religion. You see? Both played a part in this confusion and this blasphemy. Both sides on the Hebrew and on the Egyptian. That's why both houses got the same damn treatment by the Almighty. Put two and two together, y'all. Vegetation, Nazarite, Nazarene, vegetation, vegan. He was casually depicted as a green-skinned deity with a pharaoh's beard, partly mummied, wrapped at the legs, wearing a distinctive Atef crown and holding a symbolic crock and phalid, Phalil. He was one of the first to be associated with the mummy wrap. When his brother Set cut him up into pieces after killing him, Isis, his wife, found all the pieces and goes on to that. Embalming him to return to life, Osiris was at times considered the eldest son of the earth god Gib and the sky goddess Nut, as well as being brother and husband of Isis, with Horus being considered his posthumously begotten son, or posthumously begotten son. In the Old Kingdom, the pharaoh was considered a son of the sun god Ra, right? So what they tell you, when Set did that, I'm trying to get to the part where Seth put Osiris in a tomb and put him down the Nile River. Seth put him in a tomb because what Osiris stood for was peace, harmony. He had the same credentials as Joseph. He was even known as the god of silence. Didn't Joseph stay silent? Didn't he stay silent? They played both sides, man. Both sides. This is why, if you see the energy that's going around now, everybody's getting back intact. But it's scary though, because people are fully going into Egyptian mythology when that's been heavily tainted. If the Bible has been tainted, why would Egyptian mythology be sanctified? If power's people been corrupted, why would it be a pass on Egyptian mythology? Why would it be? Makes no sense to me. Makes no damn sense. So we're coming to a conclusion. And I wish I can post things. I figure out how to do that on my YouTube page. Post things on a wall, on a feed, because I'm gonna do it on Facebook. You're gonna see the credentials You don't see. They just renamed them. That's all they did. Salakia. Now we're going back into chapter 26. Chapter 26. Moroni recounts the history of Egypt, the first great empire. He explains why the histories of the human race are one-sided and seldom tells the whole truth. The Pharaoh, I don't want to butcher this name. Akhenaten. The Pharaoh Akhenaten is introduced and is befriended by the Pharaoh Ubaid. The Egyptian nation is a great nation which is later destroyed because of wickedness. And now I return again to the history and works of the children of man according to the nations into which they have divided themselves. Salaki. And it came to pass that this unification of Egypt made that part of the land strong in their trade and in their commerce with each other. These people were like unto the Benelites in every way, for they loved their families and thought of their family units above those of their neighbors. And in their, let me see. Commerce. There we go. In their commerce, meaning the activity of buying and selling, especially on a large scale, trade, making trades. Once again, nothing new under the sun, right? So in their commerce, in their trading, they became exceedingly prosperous as to the things of the world, and they began to spread throughout the land. And their rulers were put up before them as sons of gods, of the gods, even the literal descendants of their gods. And the people did worship them and give reverence unto them. And the priests who had been chosen by their rulers to teach the people the ways of their gods were also revered and put up revered and put up above the people. And because they were divided into classes according to their positions in society and also according to their wealth, those of the lower classes became unhealthy, and their mortality greatly increased because of their poverty. Because this did not concern the upper class of the people who were supported by the lower classes, for they had been convinced that the gods had given unto each man his own destiny, and if the destiny of a man caused that he was born into a lower or laboring class, then it was the will of their gods that this man remain a servant to the rulers forever. So what I like about this and what the seal portion is given to you on a grand scale is breaking down the structure of the wicked and how the structure of power is opposed, because it's completely different. Power continuously says to you in the Bible how he can tear down any king and bring up any poor man into kingship. They don't believe in that. No, they believe if you're a king, then you can treat anybody like shit and you remain king, because the gods put you there for a reason. And by that way of thinking that the gods put you there for a reason, that means, oh, since the gods put you there for a reason, that means I can treat you any type of way. That's the way that they think. That's not the way power intended it. All right? Take this one. Yeah. And so, and then you can even relate that to today. Relate that until today, how it's structured right now. Look at this government. Look at this government, right? Is it not structured in this way? Do not the poor keep, decreasing? Shit, even the middle class, even the blue collar is getting dumped on. So how much so are the poor? While the rich keep ascending. You see? We're living in the Egyptian structure. It's amazing how people can't see that the truth is written. You just got to do your research. And because they were divided into classes according to their positions in society and also according to their wealth, those of the lower classes became unhealthy. Right. Nevertheless, there were some instances when a member of the lower class might become a member of the upper class, if it so be that he demonstrated a special skill or a knowledge that would benefit the rulers of the upper class. Right. Two prime examples, Joseph and Daniel. And when power showcased his knowledge and truth, right, through the vessels of Joseph and Daniel, this is what transpired. They got put up to the upper class only for the amusement and for the Pharaoh to keep, you know, in good wealth, to stay afloat, to where he don't never have to wear it. So it was always for their benefit. It was never for their benefit and glorification of the Most High. And this is how they stayed in error. But in most cases, the majority of the laboring class of people remained so throughout the generation of their children. And the people of the upper class began to enjoy peace and harmony, but this peace and harmony was not felt among those of the lower class, for these were in constant fear of their lives. For they knew that they were destined to be servants unto the gods that they served, and therefore they did everything that was possible to please these gods, which include their rulers, the pharaohs. So let me reiterate, let me go over this again, and I'm about to give you the precept from the Bible so you can match the dots and connect the dots unto who is the true king and what exactly means when it says the ancient and the honorable, he is the head. The ancient and the honorable is the head. Okay, watch this. And the people of the upper class began to enjoy peace and harmony, but this peace and harmony was not felt among those of the lower class, for these were in constant fear for their lives, for they knew that they were destined to be servants unto the gods that they served. Hebrews chapter 2, start at 11. I start at 10. Let me start at 10. Like I said, Jesus against Osiris, they hid it in plain truth. So when you see Osiris on the Egyptian wall, you will never identify him as Joseph. You will never identify it. Never identify it. This was by design on both ends to crafty counsel. Started it with Joseph. It started it with him. But we see Jesus, who was made a little lower than the angels for the suffering of death, crowned with glory and honor, that he be the grace of God should taste death for every man. This is talking about coming into. This is death. Let's understand what death is. Like I said, check out Osiris' credentials and then precept this. For it became him for whom are all things, and by whom are all things, in bringing many sons unto glory, to make the captain of their salvation perfect through sufferings. For both he that sanctified and they who are sanctified are all of one. For which cause he is not ashamed to call them brethren. The 12. Reuben, Gad, Asher, Zebulun, Simeon, Naphtali, Levi, Judah, Dan, Benjamin. You see? Saying, I will declare thy name unto my brethren. In the midst of the church will I sing praise unto thee. And again, I will put my trust in him. And again, behold, I and the children which power give it hath given me. Through the astrolabe, the celestial instrument that Joseph possessed in the house of Egypt. For as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also likewise took part of the same, that through death, see, this, through death, you die in this. This is death. Your spirit is life, your flesh is death. That through death, he might destroy him that had the power of death, that is the devil. And deliver them who through fear of death were all their lifetime subject to bondage. What did I just read? Through fear. But this peace and harmony was not filled among those of the lower class, for these were in constant fear for their lives, for they knew that they were destined to be servants unto gods that they served. Did we not serve other gods in our lifetime? The former and the latter. The only precept with the books, precept with reality, that's how you know power lives, because you're repeating the same story. This time, this is why this is known as the last Exodus. Who was the beacon of that Exodus? You see? Through our whole life, all we've been living is the structure of Egypt. That's it. For verily he took not on him the nature of angels, but he took on him the seed of Abraham. You see? Wherefore in all things it behooved him to be made like unto his brethren, that he might be a merciful and faithful high priest. A merciful and faithful. Great mercy he showed unto his brethren. This is not talking of Jesus Christ, y'all. This is the story of Joseph. In things pertaining to God, he was talking of celestial things. The teachings of Shem and Eber. That was the teachings of Joseph handed down by Jacob. To make reconciliation for the sins of the people. For in that he himself has suffered being tempted. Did he not suffer the greatest temptation? What is the greatest temptation for men? What is the greatest temptation? Women, that's one. Two, riches and wealth. And one, she promised him both. That's coming next out of the Legend of the Jews. I'm going to read this temptation that our father Joseph had to go through. For in that he himself had suffered being tempted, he is able to secure them that are tempted. That'll be you and I. He secured us because he suffered through it first. This is in the Legend of the Jews. Gabriel told him the great revelation. That way he would have to suffer through it first, so that his children and his people would be saved. I told you, the gloves are off. The truth is going to be manifestation. It's going to manifest. Knowledge is here. Wisdom is here. Father is here. And mother is here. Their frequencies is everywhere. Their vibrations is everywhere. Because their knowledge and wisdom is oozing through my pores. I wake up with thoughts and knowledge that I never even, I can never even comprehend. Truth is here, y'all. The truth is here. So when you hear that the Jesus story bit off the Egyptian, it's truth to that. It's truth to that. But do that make Egypt righteous? No. Because Egypt and Egypt mythology, they have their hand in the mischief, if not even more. They played a great role in this confusion. for we are in their bondage. We have to suffer through their wickedness. Therefore, they're going to be judged again. Just like put this down, man. Let me talk to y'all real quick, man. Let me talk to y'all. Just like your government, your Senate, all those in the White House knew very well of the commandments and they knew to keep it. What did they do with it? You see how history repeats itself? You see how that precept stands true? There's nothing new under the sun. You see that? There is nothing new under the sun. They was well informed on what to do and how to do it. But what did they do? The same shit. The house of Pharaoh did. Same shit. So, what's to come? Who's coming? See, we got to know who's coming. Now, may elaborate on that even more too. Hence the title I gave y'all, Truth is Stranger Than Fiction. Why they got us fixated on black and white, this color in the so-called white color, which is neither black or white, for one. Why they got us fixated on that, right? What's the color of Joseph? Look at the Hawk. Look at the Grinch. If you think I'm lying. If you're thinking that this is my own understanding and knowledge and wisdom. Look at the Hawk. Look at the Grinch. Look at Yoda. Look at the Green Ranger. What do all those four different characters have in common? They're very powerful, meaning they can't be effed with. They're very powerful. 2, their intelligence. Their intelligence is on another scale. The truth is stranger than fiction. They put it in plain sight. They put it in plain sight. And knew most ain't gonna catch it. Because what we fixated on. Not this, not what's him, but what's of the world. This is of the world. That's what we fixated on. So they knew they can hide this in plain sight. Think I'm playing? Let me get out this fact real quick. Look, it's as simple as this. Check this out. It ain't too hard. Watch this. I'm going to leave off with this. Watch this. Right here, it says green often symbolizes nature in the natural world. It is thought to represent tranquility. Other common associations with the color green are money, good luck, health, envy, or jealousy. And that's what they putting up in there. And environmental awareness. All right, watch this. What is the spiritual meaning of green? Colors convey plenty of meanings in the Bible. 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 And green means immortality. In the Bible. Wasn't Joseph the son of God? Oh! Meaning he was immortal. Immortality. What was his complexion? Green. And they told you he was Osiris. You see how they do us? Immortality, resurrection, growth, prosperity, and restoration. The color green in the Bible is also associated with fertility. Be fruitful and multiply. Who told you that? What more can I say? Hear the truth, y'all. Truth is stranger than fiction. That's how much he's here. To where his identity is now reappearing. We don't got much time. No, we don't got much time. No, sir. All praises, glory, and honor go to the true and living power. And our beloved King, his only begotten Son. And to our beautiful Torah, Holy Spirit, Ruach HaKodesh, our beautiful mama. And to the boy that fights and protects the people, protects the house of Yasharan, Yarushalayim, Yasharallah, Michael, giving honor unto him. Until next time, this is Brother Nehemiah. I hope this lesson has been edifying. I will be back again, true and living power willing. Continuing on with this story, because I'm far from done with this. Shalom. Much love, beloved brothers and sisters. Shalom.